we're going to talk about what it takes to create a video game from scratch, which can be a very challenging process. Of course, not all games are created equal because there are two main types of games: indie video games and AAA video games. We're going to see what it takes to create a successful video game from scratch from both perspectives just to get a clear idea. Number one, it takes a team. The most important element of creating a video game is having a team of skilled artists and developers that have experience and the ability to do their job efficiently. Probably the size of the team is the most and the main difference between indie game development and AAA game development, and they are truly different in many ways. An indie development team can be from 5 to 30 developers and usually are generalists, meaning each developer can work on multiple aspects and parts of the game, and they can switch tasks freely and they can replace each other if necessary, because basically their knowledge and experience usually covers the whole process and workflow for creating an indie game. On the other hand, a AAA game studio have a workforce behind their game development, and they have teams specialized in a certain aspect of game development. So AAA game developers are specialized contrary to indie game developers. Their jobs vary from concept artists, character artists, animators, environment artists, level designers, and so on. A large game development studio usually have hundreds of artists and developers, and every one of them is responsible for a small part of the video game, but they are very focused on it to generate an exceptionally good result, especially with the fast growth and competition of the game industry market. Number two, it takes money. Of course, artists need to be paid in order to do their job. The average salary of a video game developer is between $50,000 to $100,000 a year, which is not a lot of money compared to the difficulty of their jobs and the long hours they have to work on the game and they spend developing these massive and highly sophisticated video games. The cost of paying hundreds of artists and developers can add up to millions of dollars. That is why large video game companies try to stick to their successful video games and create more sequels, simply because there is a ton of cash on balance and they have to make return on investment, otherwise they're going to take massive losses. Indie game developers get paid differently. If they are a group of friends that have worked in the industry and they wanted to create an indie game, they will most likely not get paid until the launch day. This means usually they lose a lot of money throughout the game development. If the indie team is bigger and they hire artists, then the artists that are hired, they're gonna get paid accordingly. Software is another cost of game development because studios need to pay for licenses and subscriptions for their staff in order to do their job. Indie game developers have the option to use free software, which is possible these days with Unity and Unreal game engines being free to use. Also, high-end 3D software such as Blender, which is totally free to use for game developers, especially for indie game developers who use it all the time. Hardware is also part of what is needed to create a video game. Usually a good computer for game development will cost at least $1,000 or $2,000. For indie game developers, this is not a problem, but for AAA game companies, this can add up to millions of dollars. Number three, it takes time. Time is a crucial factor in game development because the more time spent working on the game, the more money is spent. Game artists and developers will have to do their job faster and under pressure because they have to meet deadlines. The average AAA game development will take from 1 to 3 years, with the length of the game being a determining factor. Some games, however, took an exceptionally longer time to develop, like Lanoir 7 years from 2004 to 2011, Two Human 9 years from 1999 to 2008, Prey 11 years from 1995 to 2006, Diablo 3 11 years from 2001 till 2012. An average indie video game will take between 6 months to 2 years, depending on how good they want it to be, also the time spent on it and the budget as well, and also the size of the team is a determining factor. I hope you liked this video and got a clear idea about what it takes to create a video game, whether it be indie or AAA video game. You can share with us your thoughts in the comment section below, and also you can check some of our previous videos. Thank you very much, and I will see you in the next one.